Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Makers Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer, and today with me, I have an amazing lady, Miss Lisa Luciano. I think I said that right. I tried to say it as Italian as
Yes.
I can, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, you
So,
got it.
Lisa, I love the topic that we're about to discuss, what you're passionate about, and I think it's super important. I have a child that is starting to get introduced to tech, I have all kinds of stuff, and I get constant calls from my parents as well, talking about technology and things that they have been a victim of. So this is really, really important. So without kind of stealing your thunder, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Thank you guys, by the way, for tuning in. And Lisa is an amazing role model, amazing human being. And her message has been very profound, very powerful in the community. And I think you should really put away all the distractions and focus in over the next 10, 15 minutes on what we're about to discuss. So Lisa, welcome and thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit more about what you do, how you got involved in it, and I'm pretty sure the parents are going to recognize very fast why this is an important topic.
Thank you so much. Well, I started actually teaching technology, and I did that for 40 years. But an interesting thing happened to me along the way when we started giving students computers, because I was teaching television production at the time. Then we introduced computers, and then our principal came to me and he said, "You up for a challenge? Can you create a digital literacy program?" And at the time it was so new. I said, "You know what? Let me get back to you on exactly, way ahead of the curve." And when I started researching it and realized it was about using digital tools and being safe online, because if you're doing one, then you need the other.
Right.
And I thought, why aren't we doing this already? This is amazing. And I was so excited by getting a chance to do this. So I put together a pilot program for sixth graders. This was a middle school at the time. And we tried it and it worked really well. So he said, "Well, what about seventh and eighth graders?" And that's when I started to see that it depends on your age, how you use digital tools and how you use the internet. So what sixth graders would be getting themselves into is different than seventh and eighth and anyone else. So I said, yeah, of course, we have to have a 3-year sequence. So I created that and I taught it. And then he said, okay, this is really working well. How about our special ed and ELL kids? And that really caught me by surprise, because usually they're not integrated, or at least at certain points, they're not integrated into regular classrooms.
Right.
He said, "I want you to do this." So what I had to figure out was, how do you teach a course like this to different ability levels? With the ELL kids, I just translated as best I could using digital tools into their language so that they could have their own version on their laptops while I was teaching what was up in front of the room on a smart board. So that at least helped them understand. And then, of course, I translated every activity they had to do and test and all of that. And that seemed to work pretty well. Then with these special ed kids, it was even more complex because they were on so many different levels, because they were functioning in different ways and had different challenges. So I collaborated with the special ed teachers and said, tell me what they need. What can they do? What can't they do? But what I didn't realize was this was teaching me how to adapt the course for different kinds of people. So, and it worked for them as well. I was truly amazed and so proud that I was able to come up with that. Cool. Because they need protection as much as anyone, maybe more so. So I taught that for 10 years. I, in the process, became the library media specialist. So then I was in charge of the computer program. And that's when I really started to see the way kids use computers and the things they can get themselves into. And the problem, one of the problems that we run into in the schools is, first of all, they don't teach it. Mostly schools do not teach this, even though they're the ones who are putting our children online. And I'm going to try to change that at some point. But it's also, kids can get around things. We put things in place in our network. Well, they were using a VPN network, which is an outside network, or they were changing the address of something and they could get on Facebook when they couldn't get on Facebook before. The great thing is they were telling me about this. They were so proud of themselves. So it helped me also learn, for all the protections we do, it has to be something that's ingrained in the person, not just something, barrier we put up for them because they can get around it. So in June of 2020, I had decided after 4 years, I wanted to move in a different direction. So I retired. But then when I saw what happened with the shutdown, how the teachers, parents, and students were totally unprepared for distance learning, first of all, but also how many kids were totally unsupervised. They weren't even in school where there were some restrictions. And it really gave me a heavy heart that I left when I did. And I said, you know what, I wasn't put here not to try to make a difference, because now I have the information, I have the program that works. So I decided to offer online courses, and that's what I'm doing right now. Ultimately, it should be about schools teaching this, and I'm happy to do that if they want me to. But if I have to go one student, one parent, one senior, because they're such a vulnerable population at a time, I will. And I've created programs for every age level now, because I don't want anybody left behind. The statistics are just alarming at the victimization of people who go online, but especially children and seniors.
Absolutely. So one of the things that is really amazing is your programs, and what you do is so all encompassing. For the sake of our interview today, let's focus on actually the parents themselves, because oftentimes we forget about ourselves, right? The parents themselves, because they're trying to keep the kids safe, they're trying to keep the grandparents safe, but at the same time, how do you provide a safe home environment when it comes to technology? And more specifically, things that they can do to monitor, because it's one more thing on the parents' plates, right? So what are some of the one or two takeaways that the parents could do to have a safer home environment, and also keep an eye on the different generations, prevent them from getting into trouble?
Right. Well, that's one of the things I discovered when I tried to do it online, was the parents are the pivotal point in this, because they can help who's younger and they can help who's older, and they both desperately need that. But parents don't know a lot of this, because there's certain generations of parents who never had the technology, so they don't know. And the younger generation, they kind of think, well, I've got this. No, not when it comes to safety. That's a whole different thing. So the best thing a parent can do, or grandparent, and a lot of grandparents are raising children as well now.
True.
First, educate yourself about your child's world, the digital world. And I know it's overwhelming, and that's one of the things I try to do with my program for adults is, we got this. I'll break it down for you. I will make sure you understand the things that you need to know. So that's the first thing, is understand the language and the sites that they're going to. I mean, all you have to do is Google search the name of an app, and apps are terrible. They're one of the worst things on the internet. And you'll get a description of how the app works, which is you can be anonymous. You can geotag and find somebody who's on with you at that time. You can pull them away to a private room. I mean, this information is out there. I've condensed it so that it's a little easier, because yes, everybody is strapped for time. That's what I'm finding, is it's just hard to find the time for it. But that's the first thing, is start looking at the world your child exists in. Learn how their online educational system works, like Google Classroom, and what they're being taught, and also, what tools are they using? What are the teachers asking them to do? That kind of thing. Most parents don't know how to access that either, and that's something I teach as well. But the other thing is to find the time, make it a priority, and start thinking about monitoring what your children are doing. You need to know what they are actually doing, not what they're telling you they're doing or what they're hiding from you. So there are ways, there are devices, there are applications, whatever, that I can offer. And I do it actually on my Facebook page. I would highly recommend they start there. Come to Online Safety and Success. Every day I post free tips and advice. I take questions, whatever you need to get you started, but to make it doable. It's something you literally can put into practice immediately, like checking how much time your child is spending on their phone. If you think they're doing it a certain number of hours and you see it's off the charts, that means they're doing it when they're not with you or after they go to bed. You start to get the clues and put them together. Then you have to have the conversation. You want to establish a bond of trust with the parents and the children. Together, we have to do this as a group. It's going to take a village on this one. And let them know you're not spying, you're not trying to restrict them, you're trying to keep them safe, because that's your job. And that's a starting point, is make sure your child understands why you want to know what they're doing, and don't make it confrontational. And that's another thing that I help with, is how do you have that conversation? But I would say, first start to learn some of the things. Ask your child, oh, what is that app? What does that do? Why do you go on there? I'm curious. And then start to monitor and see what they're doing and how long they're doing it. What sites are they going to? Who are they spending their time with? Because if it's changing their behavior and they're pulling away from real people, that's not a good sign either. But those are things you can do immediately.
And then just a little tip on, because kids also socially now, they don't do it face to face a lot of times. So do you have any single suggestion or tip regarding kids and social media, social connecting online and things like that with their peers?
Well, the first thing I would suggest for anyone who's going on social media, including adults, is restrict how much you share. That is the main mistake children make, is they will give away all information about themselves to people they think they know. Problem is, they don't realize these are strangers.
Right.
And as I've told my students for years, if you're walking down the street and this man you don't know comes up to you and starts talking to you and asking you for, where do you live? What do you this? What do you that? Would you give it to them? And they're like, no, he's a stranger. I said, but you're doing the same thing when you go online. Someone can pretend to be someone else and you would not know it.
Right.
And then you get yourself in trouble. So that would be the real tip is, if you have to talk to your child about it, make them understand the concept of a stranger is anyone you have never met in real life. That's number one. And number two, whatever you put out there, you can't take back. Even if you delete it, it's out there. Someone will grab it and they can use it to find you, to hurt you, or to just hurt your reputation. I mean, so many bad things. Cyberbullying is out of control right now. So it was being first, look at the information they're sharing. And if they have it up there, make them take it down. They don't need to tell everything about themselves and their family and their lives and their schedules on social media. Limit what they tell other people until they know this is an okay person and they can trust them.
Right. I actually know someone that was denied admission to their dream college purely because of something they had posted years ago, basically, that they actually had tried to take down, and it was, they still had access to it. So absolutely. Lisa, this is a very vast topic. As we've been discovering, we've got the physical world, we got the internal world, and then now we have this virtual world. And I really appreciate you kind of showing the boundaries of what is possible and how to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. How can people connect with you so that they can actually learn more and find ways of having community? As you said, it takes a village.
It certainly will this time around. And it's a global issue as well.
Right.
It's not just about the United States. Every country is dealing with this.
Exactly.
My email that you can just ask me questions, anything that you're curious about, lisolucianomedia@gmail.com. But I would recommend you go to my Facebook page, Online Safety and Success, because you can message me, you can ask questions on the page, you can get information, and there is no question that's unimportant. I will try to help you as best I can, especially if it's something that's happening right now. But even if it's just you want to understand something a little better. So I would say go to the Facebook page, because that's the way I would be able to communicate with you faster than any other way.
Right. Absolutely. And thank you for offering those solutions and resources. Parents, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to connect with Lisa and ask for support, find the community. This is not a topic where just because the kids are good at it, you go to them for answers. This is a topic that you need professionals addressing it for you, especially if you're not tech savvy or you don't want to deal with the headache and the hassle of it, or if you're constricted as far as time is concerned. This is something that, nevertheless, whether you like it or not, is a big part of your child's life, and you need to address it and be preventative and proactive about it rather than reacting. So in order to do that, first of all, role model the behavior, show them that it's okay to connect to people that actually have your best interest at heart. Make sure that you role model the behavior, that it's okay, that we don't have all the answers, but making connections is important. And if you haven't already done so, make sure that you click subscribe so that you get notifications from all the experts that come on our channel, like Lisa, share their gifts, their wisdom, and their passions with you, and you get the notification. Lisa, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. Really, really important topic. Really enjoyed the conversation, and we are going to have you in future events as well. So I'm looking forward to those as well. Any final words of wisdom for our audience members?
Well, the thing that is the most dangerous thing online is not the bad guys. It's that we don't know what we don't know.
Mm.
And I want everybody to remember that there's always something new to learn, because the internet changes literally moment by moment. And learning is a good thing. It shouldn't be something you're embarrassed about. And help is out there. Even your children might be able to help you. So always be willing to keep learning about what's going on with your children and what they're doing online.
Absolutely. Well said. Until next time, cheers, guys.